Welcome from my home to yours. Today I want to open up the conversation about a mortgage and understand what it looks like to really get inside of that mortgage and to have the true understanding of what it looks like. A lot of times we as consumers will go into this mortgage process and think there's really only two things we need to look at: credit score and down payment. And those are two really important elements to the contract and to a mortgage, and yet there's so many different elements that go into it. One of the biggest pieces to the puzzle that people don't realize is the debt to income ratio. This is a really significant piece to the puzzle that your lender is going to put together to be able to see what and how you qualify for a mortgage. Your debt to income ratio is simple. It's how much debt do you have coming out? How much income do you have coming in? Now, we as consumers can look at that and go like, oh, well, here's all my debt and here's all my income. The reality is that your mortgage lender, especially somebody who's really good and has been versed in the space, they will help you to understand like, this is debt that counts, this is debt that doesn't count, this is income that counts, this is income that doesn't count. We don't realize all the time that our income is something that really has to have a paper trail. There's a lot of people who are out there now doing a lot of freelance work, and even when you look at industries that have a really heavy tip as an income source, that's great. It really is. It's fantastic to be able to have those things, and yet we don't always understand that if we don't collect those tips and report them in our taxes and we have a paper trail for the cash that we receive, well, that makes a mortgage a little bit more difficult to come by, because we can only go through, and the mortgage, the lender can really only qualify you based off of the income that they're able to see. Where's the paper trail to that income? And so that's a really important element. And then there's a lot of times where we get gifts, or we have somebody who helps, pay for this, somebody helps pay for that. Well, those things come into a factor as well, especially young people who have had maybe some help from mom and dad helping them like align as they've gone out and broken free from the nest and they're trying to figure these things out. They will have some of those things that come in and they help them out and they underlie their ability to be able to survive, right? Their living. And the reality is if that is you, those elements can't really be incorporated into your ability to have a mortgage. Now, your parents can help you with gifts. So if you needed a more cash or anything like that, they can help you with the gift side of things. But we don't always look at what it looks like to have our income in a paper trail, especially for some of us who are really that entrepreneur mindset. There are certain limitations inside of how they can use your income. You've got to be able to report these things. Almost always they're going to go back to and look at your tax returns and understand what that looks like. A lot of times what we don't realize too in the qualification process is that there has to be some time or longevity inside of the space where we're working. If we adjust our jobs, and especially if we adjust our jobs and it goes into a new industry, that income, even though may be sufficient for the mortgage that you're desiring or being able to qualify for, you may have to give some time to it. Coming back all the way to the beginning inside of that credit score space, credit score is a really important element. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not always an option and an opportunity inside of different mortgage and loan programs to be able to help you if you do have bad credit. There are some that, scale it a little bit lower as far as the credit score is concerned. But credit is going to be important, and especially if you're tethered to somebody, right? If you have a significant other who's going to be in the process with you for the loan, their credit score is going to count. It's like the weakest link in a chain. It's going to be the lowest score is going to be the one that counts. And so you've got to be able to understand exactly what all these elements look like. That's why it's good to have a really good professional mortgage lender who can help you understand all of the elements. It's not just your income and it's not just your credit score. It's all the elements. Now, I want to share with you a story real fast. Is that like when I first went to go buy my home, the very first time I bought a home, I went in, I was like, yes, here we go. I'm going to purchase this home. It's going to be a beautiful thing. I'm really excited. Here's my income. And they ran my credit. My credit score was so bad. The lady who was the mortgage lender, she just straight up told me, it's like, I honestly don't know that you're going to be able to purchase a home anytime soon. Your credit score is so bad, because I had been that dumb kid who got a credit card and started charging it up instead of getting a job. I was that dumb kid who went out and got a loan for a car when I couldn't afford it. I was that dumb kid, and I say dumb kid, like we all make mistakes. I'm being very judgmental on myself. If you've done these things, it doesn't mean you're dumb. It just means you did the best with what you have. And truly, that's what I was doing. I did the best with what I had, the knowledge and the information, the wisdom that I had. And I just filled in the gaps with credit. I got a little bit scared over being able to pay off my student loans and kind of let those go into default. And then I had some medical stuff that came in and that was sitting on my record that I didn't realize was there from when I was in an accident when I was 18 years old. And so there were so many things that were kind of twirling in that space that I just forgot about it. If I just let it go, it'll disappear, until I tried to buy a house. I spent 6 months doing nothing but diving into calling creditors, getting the things that I need to get done, calling all my student loans, figuring out what I needed to do to be able to get my credit score back into a position to where I could purchase a home. 6 months later, I was able to truly get it cleaned up. I had some help from somebody who helped me kind of write letters when I needed to write letters to creditors, and then I got into the house. The lady was pleasantly surprised. She thought it was crazy that I was able to do that amount of work to my credit score. And so the reality is that you're never too far gone to be able to start working back towards getting yourself in a position to purchase a home. That's just reality, and it is a great thing. I'm so grateful that I was able to purchase my very first home. It helped to create a next level of space for me. It's possible. It's difficult, but it's possible. Once we've got all of that mixed in and we understand exactly what we need to be able to get into that approval state, the next thing is that the lender is going to say, hey, this is what you're approved for to be able to go purchase a home. They're going to go through your recipe and they're going to say, this is what you're approved for. Once we have that approval letter, we get to go shopping. And I'm going to help you understand some of these best practices in shopping in this next video. You can click on it and walk through it, and we understand like these are the things that make this the best opportunity for us to find the perfect home for us that meets the majority of our requirements. Understand that your mortgage process, even though I laid out a little bit of a framework, really needs to be handled by a professional mortgage lender. If you ever have a real estate agent who's helping you in the mortgage space, they're doing something they should not be doing. You need a lender to help you understand all of the elements because your recipe is very specific to you, and there's certain things that you can do to be able to make sure that your best opportunity is put forward, and that lender, a really well-educated, wise lender, will help you understand how to put the puzzle together and make sure you have the best opportunity for you in this market. This is a great time to buy a home, and I can say that and let this video last for forever, because if you know your budget, if you know that you have what it takes, and you have a mortgage lender who's helping you get there, well, now's a great time to buy. Let's go find a home. Thank you. From my home to yours.